Hi folks, this is my first selfie video. We're just going to go through what's in the lesson so that if it's easier to get it in your ear that way. I'm looking at the booklet that everyone got about holding your guitar. Now the classical way is this way. This is one thing we want to be sure. Your left hand does all the work up and down the fretboard. Your right hand does your strumming and picking. So practice that right now to make sure that the left side of the guitar is here and the right side is here. Okay? And your lowest strings are closer to you. So in a way, it seems for some of us, we'll make a pattern out of it and say that they're higher, but because they're higher up from the floor, but just lower strings or bass strings, because that's going to be really fun as we get into this, are closer, higher to you, higher strings are down towards the floor. So just be aware of sitting, how you're sitting. We'll talk about that next week a little more in detail, but just keep relaxed but energized and upright. The third page, we talk about the strings. So there's a little memory device, which is every bright girl deserves an education, high to low. And I've encouraged everyone to write their own memory device for low to high. And I can't wait to see what those of you who are into that kind of thing come up with next week. So today's Saturday. So if you get this before tonight and you get cable and you get Turner Classic Movies, at 8 o'clock, turn on Turner Classic Movies and you'll hear the theme song to The Essentials. So the way we're doing this is your thumb, you should strive for, always shake out your arm. Your thumb should be to the left, because if it's over to the right, it's going to crash into your fingers, and that's it. So the theme song to this show, you'll hear it. And if you look, I'm resting my fingers on my pick guard, right? Now if I take, and you can change your rhythm, we'll talk about that later. If you take your, I'll move this up a little so you can see what my right hand's doing. So remember, if your hand is here, you're not going to get a clear sound. So just relax this hand. Find a way to do the guitar so your right hand you can just fool around with your right hand. And your upper fingers, so you're going to take ring man. Here's pinky, here's ring man. Ring man goes on the E string. Tall man goes on the B string, the second string. Can you see that? Index pointer goes on the third string. And I'm just plucking up. And if I put that with the E string, and I get a E minor chord, okay? Now E minor is a really easy chord, and we'll do that next time, I think. Now, here's another thing. Fool around with it. You can do, someone asked about arpeggios. Arpeggio is a chord that's broken up. It's not played all together, and you can go. That's an arpeggio. So you slow it down if you feel like fooling around with this. In your practice, just kind of try, say, 5 repetitions of the bass string. Repetitions of this, and you're striving for a clear sound. You're striving so that all of these get sounded at the same time, and you're striving for all 4 sounds striving at the same time. Then you can also try bass string. See? So do that 10 times. That's a little more advanced. You're going to see how that adds up. Now if you want to get really wiggy with it, we'll go back to the arpeggio. So I'm going thumb, index, middle, ring man. Thumb, index, middle, ring man. a lot of music is just patterns. Patterns in your fingers, patterns with the sounds. So that's a great thing to practice. You can practice one thing, just this. You can practice two things, which is this and these higher pitches together. You can practice that, or you can practice really slow, okay? Do it to the point of mastery. Then we skipped around and we tried to do the 1, 4, 3, 4. So I'm going to run through those. They're really difficult. And I'm just going to play them in case you get your, because you want to move on to that. But don't worry. So now we're going to work with the left hand. You want to strive for your thumb in the middle of your neck. Okay? Just keep, nudging it back into that place. You want to strive for enough of a grip so that you get a clear sound, but not so much that you're tensing up. So it's, right? So I would start with that. Just thumb in the middle, index finger on the first fret, and you can walk, right? So I'm just walking my index and middle finger, and they actually touch the string next to them. Then you can slide it up. So this is this is the coordination. This is the coordination of playing the guitar. Left hand moves, right hand makes the sound, right? And that's it. So if you're practicing that, if you do this like 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you do it all the way up as high as you can, you're going to build some strength. Now for those who really get ambitious, these are the 1, 4, 3, 4s. Your index finger stays anchored all the time. And you go 1, 4, 3, 4, 2, 4, 3, 4. This is like the ultimate aerobics for a guitar. Then you go down a string. 1, 4, 3, 4, 2, 4, 3, 4. Then you go down another string. Get all your ducks in a row. Get your fingers lined up. 1, 4, 3, 4, 2, 4, 3, 4. You can sing along. You can make up a song. Then you go down another string. 1, 4, 3, 4, 2, 4. Then you go down another string. Then our last one. That you really are going to feel. You want to keep this kind of lengthened and open. You're going to really feel that. Do it at the pace that's easiest for you. It's going to build up your strength. And you know what? Do that once on all 6 strings, shake it out, and take a break. And then go back to it if you feel like it. And like I said, this is one of those things you can practice effectively doing something mindless, like watching TV, if it's okay with everyone in the family. Right? You can move it up. So that's 1, 4, 3, 4s. And now we get to the chord diagrams. Okay? Everybody did a D, and we're going to mix this up next week. So everyone did a D. This is a map of the guitar. Up here is the nut, the top of the guitar, right? That's the nut, that's the nut. These lines running down here are your 6 strings, and then these lines running horizontally are the frets, okay? It's not to scale, it's just a little map that you can learn to read, and very soon you'll be able to read it like that. And this is another area where some of us have challenges, and some of us get these kind of things easily. Some of us have rhythm, some of us rhythm is a challenge. Some of us sing, everybody's different, and that's what makes music such a wonderful thing, because there's always something to learn and always something to get better at. So here, the first finger this tells you these are your higher strings. Your first finger is going to go on the third string at the second fret. Your second finger is going to go on the first string at the second fret, and your third finger is going to go on the second string at the third fret. Another little language thing that you will get the hang of very soon. So there's two ways. There's as many ways to look at this as there are people in the world. The way I like to make this chord in my head is I put my first finger on the third string, my second finger on this string, on the first string, because it just makes a little tower, makes a little building block for me, and then I just stick my third finger there. And the D chord, when it's together, sounds like this. Right? So when you get started, it may sound like a little wonky. The other thing we strive for, which I should have gone over for the 1, 4, 3, 4s, is your left-hand fingernails. Sorry, folks. Ladies, you're going to have to lose them. So your fingers should be curved. The pad should be making the sound. The best sound is usually close to the fret, but yeah, hear that? You know, so everything's better a little closer to the fret. Now, if you can't put that third finger in there, just fool around with these two, and you have an experimental chord. Okay, so that's the D. That is everything we went over. And if you get really inspired, here's something that we're going to talk about next week. Rather than full chords, we made up a song with this. We made a D chord. So once you learn the D, the other stuff's going to be really easy. So we made a D chord, and then a modified G chord. Oh, I should say this. The D chord, don't play your A or E strings, because they're not in the chord form. And we'll talk about that another time. They're not. But, so you play the D string, right? And here's where you can use that pattern, or then I'm going to make a modified G chord. So all I do is I take my pinky and move it on the third fret, right? And I lift the other guys up. And that's pinky. Then I'm going to make a modified C chord. And all of these are played on the top 4 strings of your guitar. Whoops. Yeah, no, forget that. These are the top 3 strings. And then there's our E minor. So you're playing some chords right away and just fool around with it. Have fun. Find 1 or 2 things to practice a day and then have fun with it. Okay, see you Thursday.